Have you ever stopped for a moment and wondered that are the thoughts drifting through your mind just fleeting shadows inside your skull? Or could they be part of a much greater current, a river that flows through the fabric of the universe itself? Modern science has uncovered something so mysterious that even Albert Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Two particles, no matter how far apart, whether a breath away or separated by galaxies, remain connected. When one changes, the other responds instantly. This phenomenon is called quantum entanglement. And here's the astonishing part: your own consciousness may be operating on the very same principle. For centuries, we were taught to believe that the mind is nothing more than a machine inside the brain, locked away and powerless beyond the skull. But quantum physics has shattered this old picture. It tells us that the observer and the observed are not separate. The very act of awareness changes the outcome of reality. Consciousness is not a private island. It is woven into the fabric of existence. Think of it like this: when you step into a quiet lake, the ripples spread far beyond your foot. Your presence is felt across the water, even where your eyes cannot see. In much the same way, every thought, every emotion, sends waves into the quantum field, touching realities you may never consciously notice. And the evidence is not just philosophical. For decades, researchers at places like Princeton and NASA have recorded the ways human intention can alter physical systems. Random number generators shift in rhythm with our collective focus. Groups meditating on peace have seen crime rates drop in cities. Hearts and brainwaves synchronize across distance when people cultivate feelings of love and appreciation. These are not fairy tales. They are signs that your inner world is not sealed off. Your awareness is not a small candle in the dark. It is a flame that participates in lighting the sky. What makes this even more extraordinary is how deeply these principles are already alive within you. Photosynthesis in plants relies on quantum coherence. The way you smell a flower involves quantum tunneling. And some scientists, like Dr. Stuart Hameroff and Sir Roger Penrose, suggest that consciousness itself may arise from quantum processes inside the microtubules of your brain cells. In other words, your very mind may be a quantum system, naturally capable of being entangled across time and space. So, pause for a moment and imagine if tiny particles can stay linked across the universe. What about you? What about the part of you that dreams, that hopes, that longs for a brighter future? What if your subconscious mind is already entangled with the life you most deeply desire? Here's the beautiful truth. Your emotions are not just passing moods. They are frequencies, broadcasting into the field of life around you. When you hold gratitude, love, or joy, you send out patterns that ripple far beyond your body, like music echoing through an open canyon. And those who are resonant with that frequency feel it even if they don't know why. We've all felt this in subtle ways. Have you ever walked into a room where someone had been arguing, and even before a word was spoken, you could sense the tension hanging in the air? Or perhaps you've met a person who carried such calmness that just sitting beside them seemed to quiet your heart. These are not accidents. They are the invisible signatures of energy, fields of coherence that shape experience. But here's the part most people miss. Your subconscious mind is broadcasting all the time. It doesn't rest. It doesn't pause. It is like a radio tower sending signals into the quantum field. And the station it's tuned to is determined by your deepest beliefs, the stories you keep repeating to yourself, the emotions you carry day after day. If those signals are fear, lack, or doubt, then the future you're entangled with will carry the same flavor. But when your subconscious resonates with possibility, trust, and love, the doors that open before you are entirely different. This is not a metaphor. It's how energy works. It's how entanglement works. Your inner world sets the frequency, and the frequency shapes which version of reality crystallizes before your eyes. Now, let's get personal. How do you shift this? Not by forcing, not by striving harder, not by controlling every detail of life. Transformation doesn't come from tightening your grip. It comes from softening, from allowing, like a river. Water doesn't struggle to find the sea. It simply flows. One of the simplest yet most profound practices is what I call the quantum alignment technique. Each night before you fall asleep, close your eyes and take 3 deep, centering breaths. Then, allow yourself to see the future you long for, not as a wish, not as something far away, but as if it's already here. Imagine the details, but more importantly, feel them. The smile of relief, the ease in your body, the sense of belonging. And as you drift into sleep, whisper silently, I am quantumly entangled with my highest potential. I align with it now. Do this. And you are not imagining, you are participating, just as observation collapses. Quantum probabilities into reality. Your focused awareness collapses your desired future into form. The results may not appear like lightning striking the sky, but they arrive in whispers, synchronicities, sudden opportunities, gentle nudges that guide you toward alignment. It's like tuning an old radio. When you turn the dial and find the right frequency, the static falls away and the music becomes clear. Jim Carrey once wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and carried it in his wallet, fully believing, years later, he received that exact amount for a single film. Oprah Winfrey often spoke about embodying the energy of success long before anyone else recognized her. These are not stories of luck. They are stories of alignment. And here is the heart of it all. You do not attract what you merely want. You attract what you are. If, deep inside, you still identify with struggle, then struggle will keep showing up. But when you embody the frequency of freedom, health, or abundance, life has no choice but to reflect it. This is why spiritual teachers and scientists alike emphasize coherence. Coherence in your brain waves, coherence in your heart rhythms, coherence between your thoughts and your emotions. When the inner music harmonizes, reality responds. So perhaps the real invitation is not to chase change, but to become it, to release the old self as gently as leaves fall from a tree in autumn, and to stand open for the new life that is already waiting in the field of infinite possibility. The truth is simple, though not always easy. Reality is not fixed. It is fluid, responsive, alive. Right now, infinite versions of your future exist. In one, you repeat the same cycles. In another, you have already blossomed into the truest version of yourself. The choice is not somewhere out there. It is here, in your vibration, in the story your subconscious keeps telling. My friend, you are not a powerless passenger on this ride. You are a co-creator, a participant in the grand dance of the cosmos. The entanglement is already happening. The only question is, which reality are you aligning with? So tonight, when you close your eyes, don't just fall into sleep. Step into the river of possibility. Feel the current carrying you toward the life that already belongs to you. Release the struggle, allow the flow, and trust that as you tune your heart, the universe tunes with you, because you are not waiting for the future to come. You are already entangled with it. And the moment you choose, genuinely, deeply, with all of your being, the field responds. Reality shifts. The transformation begins. 1. Consciousness shapes reality. There is a truth so simple that most of us overlook it. Consciousness is not passive. It is not a mirror reflecting back what already exists. It is the very brush that paints the canvas of your life. Quantum physics gave us a strange but revealing clue. In the famous double-slit experiment, tiny particles behaved like waves of possibility until someone observed them. The moment they were seen, they collapsed into a specific form. Awareness itself changed the outcome. That single discovery should have been enough to awaken us from the illusion that reality is fixed, separate, and independent from us. If even an electron responds to being observed, what does that say about the way your own awareness shapes the world around you? When you stop to reflect on this, it feels less like theory and more like something you have always known. Think of a moment when someone truly looked at you, not casually, but with full presence, eyes steady, heart open. In that moment, you were not just recorded by their gaze. You were altered by it. You stood taller. You remembered your worth. Their awareness called something alive in you that had been sleeping. Now imagine that your own consciousness does this to reality itself. When you bring full awareness to a possibility, it is no longer distant. It begins to breathe. It begins to take form. Reality, then, is not solid ground, but a field of probabilities waiting to be chosen. Each thought, each feeling, each focus of attention is like a finger pointing to a specific doorway. Where you keep pointing, the universe eventually opens the door. Most people believe they are watching life happen. But the truth is, they are participating. Their attention is the invisible hand guiding the shape of the day, the week, the lifetime. Consciousness works like a sculptor with clay. If you keep changing direction, touching one spot today and another tomorrow, the clay remains formless, just potential. But when you place your focus gently yet steadily on a single vision, healing, peace, freedom, the clay begins to transform. Slowly, the contours emerge. The details reveal themselves. Eventually, what was once invisible has taken shape. The sculptor's hands never force. They simply guide. And in the same way, your attention does not demand reality. It allows reality to become. Life itself is like a great river branching into countless streams. One branch carries joy, another struggle, another stagnation, another growth. The river never forces you. It waits for your choice. Where your gaze lingers, where your emotions return again and again, that is the stream you enter. And once you step into it, the current carries you forward. This is why people who dwell on fear or lack often find themselves repeating cycles of fear and lack. It is not because life has conspired against them, but because their observation has kept them tied to that stream. The act of watching is an act of joining. This is not to deny the reality of pain. Life brings loss, illness, and grief. To pretend otherwise would be dishonest. Consciousness, shaping reality, does not mean painting over the shadows with false light. It means that even in the shadows, your awareness carries power. Imagine standing in a garden overrun by weeds. You do not need to pretend the weeds are not there. You acknowledge them. And at the same time, you plant seeds of roses. With patience, the roses will grow. The weeds remain real, but they no longer have the final word. The same is true of your inner world. When you focus awareness on what you fear, you strengthen its roots. But when you give your attention to possibility, even in the smallest ways, you begin a transformation. The simple act of noticing your breath can soften your nervous system. The gentle practice of holding gratitude, even for one small thing, changes the field inside your body. These small observations are like pebbles dropped into water. The ripples expand outward, shaping the larger currents. Science separates the observer from the observed. But in reality, they are two sides of the same coin. Your inner state is always in quiet dialogue with the outer world. Think of the times you walked into a situation convinced you would fail. Your posture closed in. Your tone grew uncertain. And life reflected that energy back to you. Now remember moments when you felt trust in your bones. Suddenly, people responded differently. Opportunities appeared. Doors opened. Nothing magical, just resonance. The frequency you carried inside aligned with the possibilities outside. There is a man I once knew who had struggled with illness for years. His doctors had given him little hope, but something shifted when he stopped focusing all of his attention on the diagnosis and began holding a vision of health not as fantasy but as though it were already part of him. Each day he would sit quietly, breathe, and feel what it would be like to be whole. Slowly, his energy changed. His posture shifted. His body began responding. It was not an overnight miracle, but a steady unfolding. His awareness became medicine. His attention sculpted a new reality. This is what the double-slit experiment whispers to us: observation is creation. Consciousness does not merely witness. It calls forth. Each time you dwell on a thought of despair, you collapse possibilities into limitation. Each time you rest in a feeling of love or gratitude, you collapse possibilities into freedom. The field responds faithfully, like water responding to the shape of the cup. So what does this mean for you? Here and now. It means you are never powerless. Even in the darkest night, even when circumstances feel immovable, you carry within you the same principle that guides electrons and stars. Your attention is not small. It is the quiet architect of experience. You cannot control every event, but you can choose where you rest your gaze. And where you place your gaze, the world begins to shift. When you understand this, life ceases to be a random series of accidents. It becomes a living dialogue between you and the universe. The invitation is not to force change, but to choose gently, again and again. Where your heart looks, in time, reality bends to meet it. This is the simplicity and the profundity of the truth. Consciousness shapes reality. 2. Scientific evidence. For many years, the idea that thoughts or emotions could influence the outer world was dismissed as fantasy, the wishful thinking of dreamers. We were taught that consciousness was locked inside our skulls, a byproduct of neurons firing, powerless to touch anything beyond the body. Yet science itself has begun to whisper a different story. Slowly, through decades of experiments and data, we have been given a glimpse into something deeper. The mind is not a closed system. It broadcasts, it resonates, it interacts. The researchers at Princeton University devoted almost 30 years to studying the subtle link between consciousness and physical systems. Their project, often called the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab, used machines that generated random numbers. Under ordinary conditions, those numbers should scatter like raindrops, unpredictable and patternless. But when people focused their attention, the patterns shifted, the chaos bent. It was as though the intention of the human mind reached into the circuitry and left its fingerprint there. Think about that for a moment. Numbers on a screen, flowing from a machine built to resist any influence, quietly changed because of nothing more than thought. What does that mean for the life you are living? If a mind can alter electronic randomness from across a room, what can your emotions, your steady focus, do to the unfolding events of your day? NASA scientists observed similar phenomena, documenting how human intention could alter systems even across thousands of miles. The suggestion here is not small. It points to something many spiritual traditions have always known. The mind is not bound by distance. It is not a candle trapped in a jar. It is more like a wave, capable of touching shores far away. And then there is the work of the HeartMath Institute. Their research has shown that the rhythms of the heart are not isolated beats pumping blood alone. They form patterns that can synchronize with those of others. When a person cultivates feelings of love or appreciation, the heart's rhythm becomes coherent, smooth, and harmonious. And in some mysterious way, this coherence can be detected by others, even at a distance. Imagine sitting in a room with someone who feels at peace. You notice your breath slowing, your body softening. That is not imagination, it is resonance. Their inner state is broadcasting outward, and your system is responding. The opposite is also true when someone carries agitation. The people around them feel the strain. We have all experienced this. Science is simply giving us language and data to confirm what we have always sensed. These findings point to a simple but radical truth. Your consciousness is not confined within the walls of your body. It extends outward, creating ripples. Just as a pebble dropped into a pond creates waves, your thoughts and emotions radiate into the field of life. Sometimes the ripples are small, touching only those nearby. At other times, they grow into larger patterns that shape collective events. The Global Consciousness Project, also linked to Princeton, placed random number generators all around the world. For years, they quietly measured their output, and again, during moments of great global focus, times of tragedy, celebration, or shock, the machines stopped behaving randomly. They shifted into patterns, as though the collective attention of humanity was strong enough to bend the stream of probability itself. In those moments, our shared focus shaped measurable changes in the physical world. This is not mysticism, it is data. And yet, beneath the numbers lies something profoundly human. It tells us that what you carry inside does not stay inside. It participates in the larger story: your joy, your grief, your prayer, your intention. These are not silent. They speak in the language of energy. And the world listens. It might feel strange to accept this, especially if you have been taught that only action, effort, and physical force create change. But science is inviting us to see differently. Imagine a radio tower hidden in the chest, broadcasting signals with every beat of your heart. When you focus on gratitude, you are sending out one kind of signal. When you dwell on fear, you are sending another, and others, whether they are near or far, to pick up these frequencies. Life organizes itself in response. This is why the old idea that we are separate, isolated beings no longer holds. The data tells another story. Each of us is a node in a network, connected through invisible threads. Consciousness is the current flowing through those threads, shaping how they vibrate, how they resonate, and how they influence the larger pattern. What does this mean for you, here and now? It means that your inner work is not just personal. When you cultivate peace, you are not only healing yourself, you are quietly shifting the field around you. When you choose love instead of resentment, you are not only lightening your own heart, you are sending ripples that may reach people you will never meet. There is a responsibility here, but also a gift. Responsibility, because you cannot pretend that your thoughts and emotions do not matter. They do. They affect more than you realize. And a gift, because it means you are never powerless. Even in moments when your hands cannot act, your heart can broadcast. Your presence alone, aligned with compassion, becomes medicine for the world. Science gives us these glimpses, but we feel it most clearly in our daily lives. Think back to a time when you walked into a space heavy with conflict. Even without words, you felt it in your chest, in your skin. That heaviness was the broadcast of unresolved pain. Now recall moments when you sat beside someone gentle, someone at ease. Without them speaking, your breath slowed, your shoulders released. That was coherence spreading outward. This is the living evidence, not in laboratories, but in the intimacy of our lives. So, when you hear about studies at Princeton or HeartMath, let them remind you of what you already know in your bones. Consciousness is not closed. It is porous, radiant, and alive. Your mind, your emotions, your intention. They are waves on a sea that belongs to all of us. And if waves can move machines, can synchronize hearts across distance, can shape the patterns of global events, then surely they can also shape the path of your own life. This is not a license to escape action, but an invitation to align action with intention, to let the inner frequency guide the outer steps, to remember that what you nurture within yourself is already being sown into the field of tomorrow. When you understand this, your daily practices take on new meaning. A few minutes of breathing in gratitude is no longer a small, private exercise. It is a broadcast. Choosing to forgive becomes more than personal healing. It becomes a ripple into the collective. Science is confirming what wisdom traditions have always said. The heart is a field. The mind is a force. And together, they shape reality. You are not trapped in isolation. You are part of a living web. Every thought, every feeling, is a thread, and as you weave your thread with care, you are helping to create a tapestry of coherence for the whole. That is the evidence. That is the invitation. Consciousness is not sealed. It sings, and the world is listening. 3. Quantum entanglement and the subconscious. Quantum physics has shown us that particles can remain mysteriously connected no matter how much distance separates them. Change one, and the other responds instantly, as if space and time no longer apply. This principle is called quantum entanglement, and it unsettled even Einstein, who called it spooky action at a distance. But what if this strange principle does not end with particles? What if it stretches into the vast territory of your own mind, into the subconscious that shapes so much of your life? Your subconscious is like a silent partner, always working in the background. Psychologists tell us that more than 90% of your choices, habits, and emotions arise not from deliberate thought, but from patterns buried below awareness. You don't wake up in the morning and decide how you will feel about yourself, your relationships, or your health. Those decisions have already been made by the subconscious long before you open your eyes. And here lies the profound possibility. What if that subconscious is already entangled with a future version of yourself? Imagine this. The beliefs you hold today are not just shaping your present, they are forming invisible threads to tomorrow. The fear you carry is like a tether to a future filled with limitation. The trust you nurture is a bridge to a life of freedom. Entanglement, then, is not just a concept for physicists, it is a mirror of how consciousness links with possibility. Let me give you an image. Picture yourself standing in a great hall, filled with countless doors. Each door opens into a different version of your future. Some lead to rooms heavy with struggle. Others open into spaces filled with abundance and peace. Now imagine that every belief you repeat, every emotion you nurture, is like tying a cord to one of those doors. The subconscious is the hand that ties those cords. And before long, you find yourself pulled through the very door you've been connected to all along. This is why changing your outer actions alone so often fails. You can force yourself to work harder, to repeat affirmations, to push against old habits. But if your subconscious remains entangled with an identity of limitation, you will always be drawn back. The subconscious does not argue. It does not negotiate. It simply follows the cords it is tied. But here is the hope: cords can be untied. Entanglement can be redirected. Just as particles instantly respond to shifts in their partner, your subconscious can form a new connection to a future version of yourself. One moment of genuine realization, one deep feeling of possibility, can begin to loosen the grip of old patterns and create a bond with something higher. The Heart Math Institute has shown that when you hold coherent states of gratitude or love, your heart rhythm changes, becoming smoother and more harmonious. This coherence radiates outward, affecting others, but it also radiates inward, sending signals to your subconscious that something new is possible. Every time you rest in a state of genuine appreciation, you are not just feeling good for a moment, you are rewiring the cords of entanglement toward a future that matches that vibration. Think about the way memories work. Neuroscience has revealed that each time you recall a memory, you are not simply replaying it, you are reconstructing it. And in that reconstruction, it can change. The past itself becomes malleable, This means your subconscious is not bound to fixed stories. It is continuously rewriting them based on your present state. And if that is true, then the future it is entangled with is also changing. When you choose new beliefs today, you are reshaping both the story of your past and the thread of your future. I once knew a woman who lived under the weight of deep self-doubt. Every relationship she entered seemed to repeat the same painful patterns, as though life itself had chosen her for disappointment. But over time, she began to notice something. It wasn't life choosing. It was her subconscious entanglement with a story of unworthiness. The moment she began to release that story, to form a quiet trust in her own value, her future shifted. She found herself meeting people who mirrored her new sense of worth. The chords had changed. The entanglement had been rewired. This is the living essence of quantum entanglement in the human soul. You are not locked into a single outcome. Infinite versions of you already exist in potential. The one you meet is determined by where your subconscious is tethered. The question, then, is not whether you are entangled. The question is, with what? Are you bonded to a vision of scarcity, tied to patterns of fear and lack? Or are you connected to a future self that carries freedom, health, and joy? The answer lives in your subconscious, and the subconscious listens not to words, but to the energy beneath them. You cannot convince it with hollow affirmations. But when you embody a feeling deeply, when you experience gratitude or love as if they are already true, the subconscious responds. It loosens one cord and ties another. Here is where gentle practice matters more than willpower. Each night before sleep, as your conscious mind grows quiet, your subconscious becomes most receptive. In those moments, you can whisper new patterns into being. See yourself already living the life you long for. Feel it not as a dream, but as memory. Let your heart soften into the sense that it is already happening. As you drift into rest, your subconscious ties cords to that vision. It begins to entangle with the self who already lives there. This is not about forcing change. It is about allowing entanglement to shift like a flock of birds turning in the sky. Your future can change direction in an instant, not because you pushed harder, but because you aligned deeper. And so the invitation is simple. Notice what your subconscious is broadcasting. Notice which doors it has tied you to. If the cords bind you to pain, do not despair. You can choose differently. Begin with small acts of presence, small moments of gratitude, small seeds of trust. Each seed grows into a new thread, each thread into a new entanglement. Over time, the hall of doors opens differently. You find yourself walking through the door of freedom, not because you forced it open, but because you were already connected to it all along. This is the quiet power of quantum entanglement, and the subconscious plank. It tells us that the future is not a faraway land waiting to arrive. It is already touching you, already tied to you, already shaping the path beneath your feet. And the cords you tie today, with your beliefs and emotions, decide which future greets you tomorrow. So take heart. You are not trapped. You are entangled. And with every breath, you have the chance to choose which version of yourself you will meet. 4. Genes and beliefs. For much of modern history, we were told that our genes are our destiny. The code written in our DNA was seen as unchangeable, like ink on stone. If illness ran in your family, it was assumed to be your inevitable fate. If certain limitations were woven into your genetic blueprint, there was no escaping them. Life, according to this view, was a story already written, and all we could do was play the role assigned. But then came the field of epigenetics, and with it, a revelation that shook the foundation of biology. Scientists like Dr. Bruce Lipton showed that genes are not fixed commands but flexible scripts, waiting for cues. They respond to the environment. They turn on and off. They adapt. And here is the most astonishing part. The environment they respond to is not only the outer world of food, toxins, or stress. It is also the inner environment of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions. Think of your DNA like a vast library. The books are there, containing countless stories, but not all are read at once. Which stories are taken off the shelf depends on the librarian. In this case, the librarian is your perception. If you live in constant fear, the librarian selects books that align with survival, stress, and contraction. If you live in trust, love, and possibility, the librarian opens entirely different volumes, ones that strengthen resilience, healing, and growth. This means that every time you shift your belief, every time you choose a new perspective, you are rewriting the operational software of your body. The story of your biology is not sealed. It is being updated by the vibrations you carry. I once knew a man who had been told that because his father and grandfather both suffered from heart disease, he too would face the same fate. For years, he lived under that shadow, carrying the belief as though it were a sentence. But something changed when he began to study meditation and the science of epigenetics. He realized that while the books of vulnerability existed in his genetic library, he did not have to keep reading them. Slowly, he began cultivating new habits of thought and emotion. Gratitude became his daily ritual. He found peace in moments of stillness. He stopped feeding the belief that his future was chained to his past. Years later, his health told a different story. His genes had not changed, but the signals his body received from his beliefs had rewritten the script. This is the quiet revolution epigenetics invites us into. It tells us that our cells are listening, not just to the chemicals we ingest, but to the emotional climate we create within. Fear and despair bathe the body in one set of signals. Love and hope bathe it in another. Each signal acts like a hand on a switch, turning genes on and off. Have you ever noticed how stress seems to weaken the body, while joy seems to strengthen it? Under stress, people catch colds more easily. Their digestion falters. Their sleep breaks down. In joy, even when circumstances are hard, the body seems to glow with resilience. This is not simply psychological, it is genetic. The beliefs you hold set off cascades of biochemistry that instruct your cells on how to behave. But perhaps the most healing truth here is that you are not helpless before your biology. You are not merely a victim of inheritance. The story carried in your family line does not have to dictate the story of your life. When you shift perception, you shift biology. When you change the song you sing inside, your cells dance to a new rhythm. It may sound almost too simple, but life often hides its deepest truths in simplicity. Imagine water. It can be ice, liquid, or steam, depending on its environment. Genes are similar. They are not destiny, they are potential. And your beliefs are part of the environment that decides whether they freeze in limitation, flow in health, or rise in transformation. This understanding dissolves the illusion that healing must always come from outside. Medicines and treatments are valuable, but your inner world is medicine too. When you hold a steady sense of hope, when you truly believe in the possibility of renewal, your body listens. It responds. I recall meeting a woman who had been told she would never recover from her illness. The doctors offered only management, not healing, but she began practicing something simple each morning. She would place her hands on her heart and whisper, "My body knows how to heal. I am open to that wisdom." At first, it felt foolish, yet slowly, her body began to shift. Small improvements gathered into larger ones. The medical charts could not fully explain it, but she knew she had been speaking to her cells. She had been changing the librarian, and new books were being read from her library of genes. Of course, this does not mean we can control everything. Life is fast, mysterious, and filled with forces beyond us. But it does mean we hold more influence than we were ever told. It means that even in the face of challenge, the way we choose to believe shapes what happens inside us. So what belief are you carrying about your body right now? Do you see it as fragile, doomed by history? Or do you see it as wise, resilient, and capable of renewal? The belief you nurture is not only a thought, it is an instruction carried to every cell. When you understand this, taking care of your inner world becomes an act of deep responsibility. Choosing peace is not just for your mind, it is nourishment for your DNA. Choosing forgiveness is not only for your soul, it is medicine for your immune system. Choosing gratitude is not sentimental, it is genetic reprogramming. This is why ancient wisdom and modern science are beginning to speak in harmony. Spiritual teachers have always said that faith, love, and presence transform us. Epigenetics shows us how by literally changing which parts of our genetic potential are expressed, the inner world and the outer body are not separate. They are a single dance. So when you wake tomorrow, remember this: you are not bound by the past. Your genes are not prison bars. They are possibilities, waiting for the signal of your beliefs. You are the author of the story being written in your cells. With each thought, with each emotion, with each choice to see life through love rather than fear, you are updating the software of your body. And in that quiet, ongoing act, you are proving a truth. Too many have forgotten your biology is listening to your soul. 5. Applications in the body and life. When we think of quantum physics, we'll often imagine sterile laboratories, chalkboards covered in symbols, or theories so abstract they seem distant from daily life. Yet the truth is far more intimate. Quantum principles are not only playing out in the far corners of the universe, they are woven into the very fabric of our bodies, into the ordinary miracle of being alive. Take photosynthesis. For example, the process that allows plants to capture sunlight and turn it into energy. For years, scientists believed it was a simple chemical reaction, a matter of molecules shifting in predictable ways. But deeper research revealed something astonishing. Plants rely on quantum coherence. They use the strange ability of particles to be in multiple states at once, allowing energy to travel with nearly perfect efficiency. Without this quantum process, life on Earth as we know it would not exist. The trees outside your window, the grass under your feet, the food on your table, all are sustained because the universe whispers through quantum law. And it doesn't stop with plants. Even your sense of smell is a quantum experience. When a molecule enters your nose, it doesn't just fit into a receptor like a key in a lock. Instead, quantum tunneling takes place. Electrons leap across barriers in ways that defy classical physics, allowing you to detect scents with remarkable sensitivity. The fragrance of a rose, the aroma of coffee, the scent of rain on dry earth, all are possible because your body is attuned to quantum behavior. But perhaps the most mysterious application of quantum principles lies in consciousness itself. Some scientists, like Dr. Stuart Hameroff and Sir Roger Penrose, have proposed that awareness arises not only from neurons firing, but from quantum processes deep within the microtubules of brain cells. If this is true, then your mind is not merely a biological machine. It is a quantum system, participating in the same strange dance of entanglement, superposition, and coherence that governs the stars. What does this mean for you and me? It means that we are not separate from the universe, peering out at it like strangers. We are woven of the same thread, the same principles that guide photons across leaves, that carry sense to our brains, that hold particles in mysterious connection. Those same principles are alive in our cells, our breath, our awareness. When you pause to take this in, it is both humbling and liberating. Humbling, because it reminds us how vast and intricate life truly is. Liberating, because it shows us that we are not powerless cogs in a machine. We are expressions of a universe that knows how to create, adapt, and flourish through quantum intelligence. Think of your body for a moment. Every heartbeat is a symphony of cells, exchanging signals with precision beyond comprehension. Every thought is the coordination of countless neural pathways, firing in patterns that arise from both biology and mystery. Every breath you take is an exchange with the atmosphere, a reminder that you are not a separate individual sealed off from the world, but an open system in constant relationship with the whole. When I reflect on this, I remember a time when I felt completely disconnected, adrift in darkness, convinced that life was cold and mechanical. But slowly, through both science and experience, I came to see that I was never truly alone. My cells were participating in a cosmic dialogue. My breath was a conversation with trees. My thoughts were not trapped in my skull. They were part of a field, connected in ways both subtle and profound. Realizing this did not make life easier overnight, but it gave me a sense of belonging that no hardship could erase. And this is where healing begins. When you see that your body is not just flesh and bone but a quantum system, you begin to treat it differently. You understand that each emotion you carry, each belief you hold, each thought you nurture is not just private. It is a signal to your cells, a vibration that influences how they behave. Science tells us this in the language of epigenetics, showing how perceptions shape gene expression. Quantum biology expands the story, revealing that even the smallest processes of life rely on principles of coherence and entanglement. To put it more simply, you are not fighting against the universe to survive. You are the universe, experiencing itself through the miracle of your form. Imagine for a moment a wave in the ocean. It rises, fights, and disappears, but it was never separate from the sea. In the same way, you are a wave of the cosmos, temporary in form, infinite in essence. When you forget this, life feels heavy, as though you are dragging yourself uphill. But when you remember, there is a lightness, a sense of flow. You realize that you are carried, just as much as you are carrying. This is not a call to abandon responsibility. It is an invitation to live with more grace. When you feel anxiety, you can remember, my body is not an isolated machine. It is part of a larger coherence. When you feel despair, you can remind yourself, even in the darkest night, my cells are still singing the song of quantum life, still connected to the vast intelligence that holds galaxies together. You might wonder, how can I live this truth in daily life? The answer is not in complicated practices, but in small moments of awareness. When you eat, remember the quantum dance that allowed sunlight to become food. When you breathe, remember the coherence that links your body to the forests of the earth. When you sit quietly, remember that your awareness itself may be a quantum process, linking you to possibilities not yet seen. These reminders shift something subtle inside you. They create reverence, a softening of the heart, a willingness to live with greater kindness toward yourself and others. Because once you know that we are all expressions of the same cosmic field, harming another feels like harming yourself, and caring for another feels like remembering who you truly are. The applications of quantum principles in the body and in life are not only scientific curiosities, they are invitations to live differently, to honor the mystery that sustains you, to recognize that you are not separate from the universe, but the universe looking back at itself through your eyes. And when you begin to live from this recognition, something shifts. The small things that once felt meaningless take on new depth. A smile, a breath, a moment of silence, they become sacred, because you see them for what they are, the universe experiencing itself in the intimacy of your own life. So perhaps the most healing realization is not simply that quantum mechanics operates in plants, in smell, in cells, or even in consciousness. The deepest realization is this: you are the living embodiment of those principles. You are coherence and entanglement and superposition, woven into human form, And as you walk through this world, you are not walking apart from the cosmos, you are the cosmos, awake to itself for a brief and beautiful moment. 6. Emotions as frequencies. We often think of emotions as private experiences, invisible states that come and go inside us like weather. We imagine they belong only to us, hidden beneath the skin. But what if emotions are more than passing moods? What if they are signals, frequencies broadcast into the world around us, shaping both our inner body and the field of life we live within? The Japanese researcher Masaru Emoto gave us a striking picture of this truth. He exposed water to different words, music, and emotional intentions, then froze it to examine the crystals that formed. Water blessed with love or gratitude revealed breathtakingly symmetrical shapes, like tiny snowflakes, carved with elegance. Water exposed to anger or fear, on the other hand, formed distorted, chaotic patterns. The message was clear: water responds to energy. Now, pause for a moment, and remember, your body is about 60% water. Every belief you carry, every emotion you nurture, is whispering to your cells. It is shaping the architecture of your inner world, crystallizing into harmony or disorder. You are not only feeling emotions, you are broadcasting them, instructing your body how to organize itself, and sending signals into the field beyond your skin. I remember a time in my own life when grief weighed heavily on me. It wasn't just a thought in my head, it lived in my body. My shoulders sagged, my breath grew shallow, even my digestion slowed. The emotion was broadcasting itself into every cell, shaping my inner water into patterns of contraction. Later, as I began to practice gratitude, not as a forced positivity, but as a gentle remembering of small gifts, I noticed the shift. My body softened, my energy lifted, the water inside me was listening. This is why emotions matter. They are not decorations of the soul, they are architects. They design the structure of your biology and the vibration of your life. Think of your heart. It is not just a pump, pushing blood through your veins. It is also an electromagnetic generator, producing a field measurable several feet beyond your body. The HeartMath Institute has shown that when you feel emotions like love, appreciation, or compassion, the rhythm of your heart becomes coherent, smooth, harmonious, like music played in tune. And this coherence influences not only your own nervous system, but also the fields of people around you. Have you ever entered a room where someone's presence felt calming, even without words, or walked into a space heavy with anger, and felt tension in your own chest? That is the transmission of emotional frequencies. We are constantly broadcasting, constantly receiving, but here is the part most people miss. The frequencies you emit are not random. They are shaped by the emotions you repeatedly nurture. Fear and resentment broadcast one signal. Love and gratitude broadcast another. And the universe, in its quiet coherence, responds to the station you are tuned to. Imagine yourself as a radio tower. Each thought, each feeling, is a wave you send into the quantum field. The field does not judge the signal, it simply carries it. And what comes back into your life tends to resonate with what you are broadcasting. This is not superstition, it is resonance. It is the simple truth that coherence attracts coherence. So, how do we shift the station? How do we move from broadcasting chaos to broadcasting harmony? The answer is not in suppression. You cannot silence fear by pretending it doesn't exist. You cannot force joy while ignoring your pain. The answer lies in gentle awareness, allowing emotions to flow, then choosing, moment by moment, which ones to nurture. When sadness comes, acknowledge it, feel it, but do not build your home there. Let it pass through like a storm, washing the ground. When gratitude comes, feed it, expand it, let it linger like sunshine after rain. Slowly, the frequency of your life begins to tilt toward harmony. The beauty of this is that small shifts matter. You don't need to maintain joy 24 hours a day to change your frequency. A single moment of genuine gratitude can ripple through your system, reorganizing your heart rhythms, calming your nervous system, and broadcasting coherence into the field around you. One moment of compassion can change the conversation of your cells. Think of it like tuning an instrument. If the strings of a guitar are slightly off, the music feels uneasy. But with just a little adjustment, the sound transforms. Your body, your mind, your energy, they are instruments. Your emotions are the tuning. And when you tune with care, you create music that resonates both within and beyond you. I once sat with a man who had lived many years in bitterness. Life had disappointed him, and his body reflected it. He was tense, tired, always bracing for the next blow. But one day, he told me something had shifted. He began, each morning, by placing a hand over his heart and remembering one thing he was grateful for. At first, it felt awkward, even empty. But over weeks, something softened. He laughed more easily. His health improved. His relationships warmed. Nothing outside had changed dramatically, but the frequency he broadcast had transformed. And life, faithfully, responded. This is the invitation emotions carry. They are not accidents, nor enemies, nor private storms. They are signals, frequencies shaping your reality. And the choice of which ones you nurture is one of the deepest powers you hold. So, ask yourself gently, what frequency am I broadcasting today? Is it one of fear, tightening the body, clouding the mind, distorting the inner water? Or is it one of gratitude, opening the chest, harmonizing the cells, broadcasting coherence into the field? The question is not about judgment, but awareness. Once you see clearly, you can choose differently. The truth is simple, though not always easy. Emotions are creative. They are not side effects of life, they are causes. When you live with awareness of this, you stop being a victim of moods and begin to become a steward of frequencies. And as you tune your frequency, you discover that reality itself begins to tune with you. So perhaps today, begin small. Place a hand over your heart. Breathe slowly. Remember one thing, however small, that brings gratitude. Feel it not as a thought, but as a vibration in your body. Let it ripple through your cells. Let it broadcast into the field around you. This is how you shift. This is how you realign. Because in the end, you are not just experiencing emotions, you are transmitting them. And the universe, like an infinite mirror, is listening to the song you sing. Set. Practical technique. Quantum alignment. There is a sacred doorway each of us walks through every night. It is that soft edge between wakefulness and sleep, the threshold where the mind loosens its grip and the body sinks into surrender. This doorway has always been there, but few recognize its power. It is not just a biological necessity, it is a portal into the quantum field. And it is here that you can consciously plant seeds for the life you wish to live. The practice is simple, yet profound. Before you drift into sleep, close your eyes. Let your breath slow and deepen 3 breaths, full and deliberate. With each inhale, imagine you are gathering scattered pieces of yourself back into wholeness. With each exhale, release the weight of the day, the noise, the doubts. These 3 breaths prepare you, not just for rest, but for alignment. Now, allow yourself to imagine the version of you that already lives in your highest potential. This is not fantasy or make-believe. It is a glimpse into another probability, another thread of reality already existing in the quantum field. See that version of yourself as vividly as you can. Imagine the way they walk, the ease in their shoulders, the light in their eyes. Feel the confidence that radiates from their presence. Notice the relationships, the health, the peace, the abundance. Don't just watch it, enter it. Let your senses drink it in as if it were happening now. Touch the future with your imagination as though you are running your hands across the fabric of what already exists. Feel the sounds, the textures, the emotions. Smell the air of that new life. The more real you allow it to feel, the more your subconscious accepts it as truth. And here comes the key. Softly repeat within yourself. I am quantumly entangled with the highest potential of my being. These words are not a wish. They are not begging for something outside to come in. They are a declaration of participation. You are aligning your inner state with the entanglement that is already there between your present and your future. Just as two particles remain connected across space and time, so too are you connected to the you that has already stepped into that higher reality. This is not prayer in the old sense, where you ask a distant God to intervene. It is not daydreaming, where you escape into fantasy. It is a direct engagement with the mechanisms of consciousness and quantum possibility. You are collapsing the wave of potential into form, not by force, but by resonance. You are tuning yourself to the frequency of the reality you wish to live, and the universe responds to coherence. I know this sounds simple, and perhaps because of its simplicity, people overlook it. But I have seen lives transform with this practice. I once spoke with a woman who carried years of despair, convinced she would never heal. Yet each night, before sleep, she practiced this alignment. She imagined herself laughing with ease, waking with energy, embracing life without fear. In the beginning, it felt false, like trying on a coat too large for her. But slowly, her nervous system adjusted. Her body began to believe, and within months, her reality shifted. Health improved, opportunities opened, relationships softened. It was as if the future version of herself had reached back through time and pulled her forward. Science offers us clues to why this works. When we fall asleep, the brain transitions into slower wave patterns, theta and delta frequencies states, where the subconscious mind is most receptive. In this state, suggestion bypasses the critical filter of the rational mind and takes root in the deeper soil of belief. By planting images and feelings of your highest potential before sleep, you are programming the field of your subconscious, and by extension, the quantum field itself. This is not about control. It is about coherence. You do not demand reality to bend to your will. You allow yourself to resonate with the version of reality already vibrating at a higher order. It is like tuning a violin string. You don't force the note, you adjust until it harmonizes. There is another beauty in this practice. It dissolves the anxious striving that so often exhausts us. During the day, we try to manage, fix, push, control. But at night, in this practice, we learn to release and trust. We do not wrestle the quantum field into obedience. We join it. We do not beg the future to come. We rest in the knowing that it is already woven with us. I often tell people this practice is not about manifesting shiny objects or chasing desires for the ego's satisfaction. It is about aligning with the deeper currents of who you already are. The car, the house, the job, they may come, or they may not. What matters is the state of being you embody, the coherence of your energy, the peace you carry into your body and into the field around you. That is the true manifestation. So each night, as you lie down, consider this not as a small ritual, but as a profound act of creation. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, imagine with all your senses, and affirm, I am quantumly entangled with the highest potential of my being. Allow sleep to carry that vibration into the depths of your subconscious, where it weaves with the fabric of your biology, your energy, and the reality you awaken into. And here's the gentle truth. This is not about perfection. Some nights you may feel it strongly. Other nights, you may feel distracted. That's all right. The power is not in forcing the practice, but in returning to it consistently, like water shaping stone. Each repetition strengthens the entanglement, deepens the coherence, and opens the channel for your life to shift. In time, you will wake not only with rest, but with resonance. You will begin to notice synchronicities, the right people, the right opportunities, the right insights appearing at just the right moment. You will notice your body responding with more ease, your emotions with more stability. This is not coincidence. It is the natural unfolding of alignment. Because the truth is simple, you are not separate from your future. You are already woven with it. And every night, as you step into that sacred doorway of sleep, you are invited to remember this and to choose gently, consciously, the reality you wish to wake into. So tonight, when you close your eyes, breathe 3 times, let go of the day, and step into your highest potential as if it were already real. Do not beg for it. Do not chase it. Simply align with it. And as you drift into sleep, let the quantum field carry your song into the fabric of tomorrow. 8. Mystical experiences and meditation. For thousands of years, mystics, monks, and seekers have spoken of a state that words can barely touch, a sense of dissolving into the vastness of existence, where the boundaries of I melt into the whole. They called it union, onis, nirvana, sitting in caves, walking in forests, or resting beneath the stars. They discovered that when the mind quiets and the heart opens, a profound truth emerges. We are not separate from the universe. We are the universe, aware of itself. Modern science, in its own language, is beginning to catch up. Quantum physics tells us that separation is an illusion, that particles across galaxies remain mysteriously connected. Neuroscience reveals that meditation changes the brain, silencing regions that maintain the illusion of self and amplifying circuits of compassion and connection. It is as though the ancient intuitions and the modern data are shaking hands, each confirming what the other has long suspected, that consciousness can expand beyond the borders of the body and taste the infinite. When I speak of mystical experience, I do not mean something dramatic or distant. Sometimes it is as ordinary as sitting in silence and suddenly feeling the space around you as alive, humming, breathing with you. Sometimes it is the simple realization that the air you exhale becomes the breath of the trees, and the trees' exhale becomes yours. It is in these moments that the fragile wall between me and world crumbles, and you glimpse the deeper truth. There is only one field, one pulse, one life. Meditation is the ancient technology that opens this door. It is not about forcing the mind into silence or escaping the body. It is about resting so deeply that the chatter of thought softens and awareness reveals its own luminous nature. At first, you may sit and feel restless, the mind spinning with to-do lists, regrets, or worries. But if you stay, if you breathe, if you keep returning to the simple rhythm of now, something shifts. Like a muddy river settling, clarity arises. You begin to sense that beneath the noise of thought there is an ocean still, vast, untouched. Those who have walked this path report similar experiences across cultures and centuries. A Christian mystic may describe it as merging with divine love. A Buddhist monk may call it emptiness, overflowing with compassion. A Sufi poet may sing of it as being lost in the beloved. Though the words differ, the essence is the same. The self falls away, and what remains is the whole, radiant and indivisible. Quantum science offers metaphors that illuminate these ancient truths. Think of the quantum field as a vast sea of potential. Normally, we experience ourselves as small ripples on that surface, each separate and distinct. But in meditation, the ripple remembers it is the sea. The wave realizes it was never apart from the ocean that gave it birth. In this recognition, fear dissolves. Because fear is always rooted in separation. Love arises. Because love is the natural expression of unity. I remember once sitting in meditation after a long season of grief. My body felt heavy, my heart wounded, but in that silence, something opened. It was as if the edges of my skin blurred, and the sorrow I carried was no longer just mine. It was the sorrow of humanity, of the earth itself. And alongside it, there was love, immense and unconditioned, holding it all. I realized then that meditation is not about escaping pain, but about expanding wide enough to hold it without breaking. That is the mystical truth. You are vast enough to contain both the darkness and the light. Research now shows what mystics have long described. Studies at the HeartMath Institute reveal that when people enter deep states of heart-centered meditation, their heart rhythms become coherent, radiating order into the electromagnetic field around them. Others nearby can literally synchronize to this coherence. At Princeton, experiments in global consciousness found that during moments of collective focus, such as meditation or even global events, random systems shift in measurable ways. It is as if when many people enter the field of unity, the fabric of reality itself ripples in response. This tells us something extraordinary. Your meditation is not just for you. Each time you sit, close your eyes, and drop into stillness, you are contributing to the coherence of the whole. Like tuning forks resonating together, your vibration calls others into harmony. A single candle may seem small, but when placed in darkness, it changes the room. Multiply that by thousands, millions meditating, and the shift becomes undeniable. But here is the gentle reminder. Mystical experience is not about chasing visions or extraordinary states. If you sit expecting fireworks, you may miss the quiet miracle. Sometimes the deepest transformation is simply realizing you can sit with yourself in silence without needing to fix or escape. Sometimes it is the soft smile that arises for no reason. Sometimes it is the way your breath deepens, your shoulders release, and you remember you are safe here, now. The beauty is that meditation and mystical experience are not reserved for monks on mountaintops. They are available in the middle of a city, in a hospital bed, in your living room at dawn. They require no special robes, no exotic rituals. They ask only your willingness to pause, to soften, to enter the vastness within. So when you hear of quantum entanglement, or global consciousness, or studies of meditation's effects on the brain, remember that science is merely mapping what countless souls have walked for millennia. The language may differ, but the song is the same. The universe is not out there, separate from you. It is here, breathing through you, pulsing as you, waiting to be remembered. And in meditation, when the boundaries fade and the illusion of separation dissolves, you taste that truth. You remember that you are not a lonely fragment in an indifferent cosmos. You are the cosmos, alive, awake, aware of itself for a brief and precious moment through your eyes. This is the gift of mystical experience, not to escape life, but to embrace it with the knowing that every heartbeat, every tree, every star, every stranger is not other, but self. And when you rise from meditation carrying that remembrance, you carry peace into the world. You carry coherence into the field. You carry love into every interaction. That is how the ancient wisdom and the quantum discoveries meet, not in theory alone, but in the quiet practice of remembering who and what we truly are. You are the living proof. Reality is not a frozen block of stone, heavy and immovable. It is more like a river, always flowing, always reshaping itself according to the currents that move within it. And those currents are not outside of you. They are your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, the way you choose to see the world, the way you choose to feel. Even the way you choose to breathe, all of these are threads woven into the fabric of what tomorrow becomes. For too long, many of us have carried the weight of believing we are victims of circumstance. We thought life was something happening to us, something imposed upon us by fate, by genetics, by luck, by forces too large to shift. But the truth is gentler, and yet more powerful. You are not a passive witness to existence. You are a co-creator with the universe itself. Life is not only shaping you, you are shaping life. Each vibration you hold is a choice, though it may not always feel that way. Every thought has a tone. Every emotion is a frequency. Every breath carries a signal. Imagine it as a network of invisible threads stretching into the future, connecting you to countless versions of yourself. One thread leads to limitation, another to healing, another to abundance, another to peace. The future is not fixed. It is responsive. And every moment you are tuning yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously, to one of those possible paths. This means you are always entangled with your future. If your subconscious is left on autopilot, repeating old fears and rehearsing old stories, then it will naturally weave you into the same loops of experience. But if you bring awareness to the moment, if you begin to cultivate new beliefs, new emotions, new patterns of thought, then you redirect the current. You align yourself with a higher version of reality, one where you are not bound by yesterday's shadows, but illuminated by tomorrow's light. Think of it like music. If your mind is a radio station, then your thoughts and emotions are the frequencies it broadcasts. If you tune into fear, doubt, or anger, you align with a reality that resonates at that frequency. If you tune into gratitude, love, or peace, you harmonize with realities that reflect those vibrations. The universe, like a great symphony, responds not to what you demand, but to what you resonate with. This is why practices like meditation, visualization, and heart coherence are not abstract rituals. They are tools of alignment. They teach you how to shift the station, how to tune yourself into the frequency of the reality you wish to live. And over time, as you stabilize in that vibration, life begins to reorganize around it. Opportunities appear, healing unfolds, synchronicities multiply. People sense something in you, an ease, a presence, a quiet strength, and they respond to it. But here is the deeper truth. This is not just about manifestation in the sense of attracting things. It is about transformation in the sense of becoming. When you align with your highest potential, you are no longer trying to make reality bend to your will. You are remembering who you already are. You are stepping into the role you were designed for, not a seeker of proof, but the living proof itself. I know this path is not without its shadows. Many of us have walked through long valleys of pain, loss, or despair. We have known what it feels like to be powerless, to be broken, to wonder if light will ever return. And yet, in those valleys, something essential is discovered. The recognition that even in darkness, you are not alone. And even in despair, there is a spark that refuses to go out. That spark is your consciousness. That spark is your capacity to choose again. Every time you choose to breathe into love instead of fear, you are shaping a new timeline. Every time you choose gratitude in the midst of lack, you are entangling yourself with abundance. Every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, you are shifting your vibration toward peace. These choices may seem small, almost invisible, but together, they are the architecture of destiny. You may ask, how do I know it's working? How do I trust that these invisible shifts matter? The answer is simple. Though it requires patience, you will become the evidence. You will notice your body feels lighter, your mind clearer, your interactions softer. You will begin to see coincidences that are not coincidences at all, but signposts showing that reality is bending to the rhythm you now carry. And slowly, the life you once thought impossible becomes the life you are quietly living. To live this way is to embody the truth that reality is fluid. It is to walk through the world not as someone trapped, but as someone in conversation with the universe. You speak, not with words alone, but with your vibration, and the universe responds. So here is the invitation. Stop waiting for proof outside of yourself. Stop waiting for the perfect circumstance, the right sign, or the guarantee of success. You are the sign. You are the experiment. You are the evidence that consciousness creates reality. And the moment you embody this truth, you no longer need to convince anyone. You radiate it. You become a quiet lighthouse for others who are still searching in the dark. The future is not something you stumble into. It is something you align with. You can live out the old patterns, the echoes of fear and limitation, or you can step into the higher resonance of who you truly are. The choice is always before you. In every breath, in every thought, in every act of presence. And here is the beauty when you choose. When you become the vibration of love, peace, and wholeness, you are not just transforming your own life. You are participating in the transformation of the collective. Your coherence ripples outward, affecting those around you, contributing to the rising frequency of the whole. This is how one heart can change a family. One presence can shift a community. One life can ripple through the field of humanity. So as we come to a close, remember this. You are not a student of manifestation. You are its embodiment. You are not just learning about quantum entanglement. You are living it. You are not just thinking about possibility. You are breathing it into form. Reality bends where your awareness flows. The river of existence carries you where your vibration steers. You are not powerless. You are not separate. You are not waiting. You are the living proof that thought, emotion, and belief shape the world. And in this moment, as you listen, as you breathe, as you remember, you are already aligned with the highest version of yourself. Carry that truth into tomorrow. Live it. Radiate it. Become it. Because when you do, you are no longer just talking about miracles. You are the miracle.